Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Ew. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Motive Racing channel. We are here for the ACC Wednesday GT3 League tonight. We've got lots of very excitingly fast drivers out on track, and we should hopefully be having some excellent racing action for you guys tonight on the Motive Racing channel. Currently got Seuss 385 sitting at the top of the leaderboard here in this qualifying session. Now in the practice session you would have seen a few moments ago, we did see that it was Ziga Milk who put in the fastest time and wired a low 1 minute 45, which we've heard apparently isn't the fastest time that's been set over the course of this week. What we know from Sunday, actually, the pole time from Oswheels was a 43.4, I think it was. But Oswheels, one of those guys who's just ridiculously fast, so we're not going to hold everyone to those standards at the moment. So currently Seuss sat at the top of the leaderboard, 1:45.7. Looks like Timonovski's just done a lap pretty close to that, actually, just under a tenth of a second off. That guitar dude currently sat in P3 at the moment, our regular in the GTEs over on Project Cars 2. Now some of you guys may have actually seen the race from Monday night, the feature race. That guitar dude actually ended up on his roof on the outside of Pouhon Corner at Spa, so it was quite a sight to behold. It was fascinating indeed to see a car so close to the track just sat by the side on its roof. It was quite funny to watch, but that guitar dude, I'm sure will be looking to bounce back here in this one. We've currently got Thorsten Borchardt just gone top of the leaderboard here. He's put it ahead by 7/10 of a second. That is a very quick lap time there from Thorsten. Thorsten, if you didn't already know, is actually our former GTE and GT3 champion over on Project Cars 2 here at Motive Racing. He's got past form, and we know how quick he is. Last week at Spa, unfortunately, didn't really go to plan for him. He put it on pole position, but then the setup for the race was not quite what he wanted. So Thorsten, I'm sure, will be coming into this one with a big point to prove, and I'm sure he will silence any critics from last week. Seuss still sat P2. Timonovski third at the moment. Also races in our GT3 Super League over on Project Cars 2 as well. We've got Red Fly out there at the moment. Just coming in towards the chicane now. 8/10 of a second off of the pole time. Currently on a 1 minute 45.8. Feel pretty close together at this point. That guitar dude comes over, stays P5 for the moment. Ziga Milk, the man who was the fastest in the pre-practice session just a few moments ago, currently still yet to set a flying lap in this one, but we know that he's more than capable of putting himself in the mix. We saw a 45.1 from this man in the free practice session, so it's only a tenth off of the current provisional pole time being set by Thorsten Borchardt. The only G admin here at Motive Racing, host of our streams, driving in the Audi tonight, and he's making his debut here on Assetto Corsa Competizione. So it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. He's only played this game for a couple of days, so he hasn't really had too much practice time. He is actually a world record holder around 26 different circuits on Project Cars 2 in the V8 supercars, so he's got a lot of talent across the board. Also our GTE champion and former GT5 Ginetta Cup champion over on Project Cars 2 here at Motive Racing as well. Keep an eye on G here and see what he does as he comes into the final turn, getting nicely early onto the power. See what it's going to be for him. It looks like he comes around and it's P6 at the moment, a low 146. We know that he's able to do more than that, but we'll keep an eye on G as this one goes on. That guitar dude pushed down to P7. We've got Chris Pisak out there at the moment. Chris is our Polishman, races out of the UK. Used to race with us on Project Cars 2 as well. I keep mentioning that because pretty much every single one of our leagues, except our ACC leagues, are over on Project Cars 2, so it's the only way that I can really reference these guys in terms of their past achievements here at Motive Racing. But Chris, currently 1.1 seconds off of the pole time. Looks like he's stopping the car. I think he's getting out of the way of Timonovski there, so good awareness from Chris. Timonovski able to continue on his way. Ziga Milk, fastest man in free practice, still yet to set a lap time at this point. Militant still going around P10 at the moment. Looks like Timanowski's got a little bit closer to Thorsten. He's put it within 0.3 of a second. He brings it into the pit lane. Let's see what Seuss can do here. Currently 0.7 off of the top time at the moment. So he throws it out of the last corner. Let's see what it's going to be for Seuss. He goes a fraction faster, but not enough to put himself in the mix on the front row at this point. Red fly still going around 0.8 off the pole time. Hasn't improved yet. Chris Pissock's just coming up towards turn 4 now. It looks like G's had a moment. The only G there getting well out of shape. Gets it pointing in the right direction once again though. Agathardi's just coming in towards the final sector now. Let's see what he can do. It's been solid so far this season, that Agathardi. Oh, a little bit of slide there as he gets onto the power, but keeps it going. Now this exit out onto the pit straight is so crucial to your lap. He gets a little bit wide, but it shouldn't have cost him too much time. Can't improve for the time being. Stays P7. We've got Middleton out there. And Ziga Milks, our fastest man in free practice, still yet to set a lap time at the moment. Look at that cornering speed. Absolutely fantastic. These cars on Assetto Corsa, they sound absolutely unbelievable. Ziga Milk going to do his first flying lap of the session, and he goes pole. Brilliant time there from Ziga Milk. Pushes Thorsten Borchardt down to P2 with his first lap of the session. He's left it until the last moment here with 2.5 minutes left to go in this qualifying session, but he's well and truly laid down the gauntlet here. See if Thorsten has anything left in the tank to respond to that, but that is incredibly quick there from Ziga Milk. First man into the 44s tonight. Timanowski pits. Ian, you're really quiet. Go to microphone level. So I've got party chat all the way. So it must be your mic.
Is that better?
A little bit. Hold on, let me just pull the game up and see if we can hear you properly. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's good, that's good. Ladies and gentlemen, we're also joined in the commentary box tonight by Ian, otherwise known as Emo Guy. Ian, good to have you with us in the box tonight. Obviously you've raced ACC, you raced in the first Sunday League race at Spa. You obviously know what these guys are going through out on the track. What would you say the key differences between this game and the one that we all have raced on for many seasons now, Project Cars 2?
Well, for me, one of the biggest changes is the fact that whenever ACC is, you can feel how heavy the car is. You feel that you actually have to work to get the car around. That you have to physically keep the foot on or brake up a bit more compared to Project Cars 2, where it's a little bit more loose, it's a little bit more lighter. You don't have to try as hard to get around the corners.
Yeah.
It feels like you're actually in the car.
Yeah, so the physical toll is a lot more representative of what you would actually be experiencing in the car, basically. You feel the load a lot more.
Definitely.
Yeah. I've had the same experience as well.
It's like it's just like they've taken everything about each car in this game. They've put every single aspect of that into your controller or your steering wheel, and it makes for a lot better racing because it's not just always down to the setup at this point. It's down to the physical skill of the driver to keep the car on track and on the right position.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously you've got to take into account the mental strain of keeping your composure and your concentration, especially for long races when you're under physical strain at the same time. So yes, definitely a lot more of a it's a lot more sim orientated than you would see in Project Cars 2. It's good for on the handling side, but I would say from a driver's side, maybe Assetto Corsa Competizione has got to be the best game out there.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like it's made. It was physically made by the developers by asking, or you're going around, each GT3 championship there is in the world, and asking each driver, like, how does this car handle? What would it be like? How would you say? How would you say it handles in a game? Like, just take everything about the car and put it into the game.
Yeah, 100%. It's the attention to detail is really impressive on this game, and obviously you'd expect it because it is the official Blancpain series game, so it's very much concentrated and based around the GT3 series, as we do see Thorsten Borchardt improving his lap time there at the end of the session, but it's not enough to put himself on pole. Stays on the front row.
Yeah, it's just like I was when you could hear me. It's like, like our guy for the session, I can't read his name because the TV I'm currently failed to use is an old one. Being the only Porsche on the grid, that's fantastic, especially coming from his first flying lap. That's outstanding. So it was to be able to outmark somebody as fast as Thorsten. That's remarkable.
Yeah, what I'm seeing with the Porsches is that they're a right handful, but those who are able to tame them and keep them pointing in the right direction are actually getting the best out of them. We saw on Sunday night, I don't know if you were watching him for the stream, Oswills was absolutely flying at the front. He was ridiculously quick.
Yeah.
He was so far ahead of everyone else. Yeah, he was driving the Porsche.
Yes, because for me personally, I prefer the McLaren 720S. It just, for me, compared to the rest, it's just a lot more stable. It's something that I know personally that I can handle without having to put too much effort into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, I think I started out with the Lambo GT3 on the Assetto Corsa Competizione, but as it went on, I found it was a little bit too inconsistent around certain tracks. I found the Ferrari 488's the best balanced car in terms of you can pretty much drive it around everywhere. The Ferrari, it's just a nicely balanced car. I found it. It's a lot better than it is on PC2, definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Alright guys, welcome back to the Motive Racing channel. We're about to go racing here for the round 2 of our Wednesday GT3 League here on Assetto Corsa Competizione. If you're watching this for the first time here on the Motive Racing channel, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified when we're live in the future. And if you have a PlayStation 4, then make sure you join us on our Discord server and get involved. That way you can be one of these guys out on the track. With that being said, just over a minute to go now until lights out here. The green flag will be waving here. How strange. Stream's not showing up on my Facebook page. Oh, here it is. Here we go, we're about to go racing here at the Hungaroring These guys are about to start their rolling start procedure, so it's going to be Ziegenmilk leading us off on the inside, Thorsten Borchardt on the outside, just 0.2 of a second separating those guys in the qualifying session. Militant put himself in the mix right at the end of the session there into P3, didn't see that. But a good impressive job there from him. Timanowski lining up on the second row. We've got Redfly, that Guitardo, Seuss and Chris Pissock. The only G down in 9th place. We're expecting good things from him. I'm sure he'll be making his way back up through the pack. But here we go. We have got green flag here and we are underway. It looks like Ziegenmilk gets a good getaway on the inside there from pole position. You can see Militant there covering off. Timanowski, pardon me, covering off the inside there off Militant as they come into turn 1, and Chris Pissock going late on the brakes down on the middle. It looks like Redfly has got absolutely swamped through the first corner. He's lost lots and lots of position. You can see G going all 3 wide there between G and Seuss have a incident there. It looks like G just tried to cut in there and unfortunately Seuss clipped him, so G is down to last place and he has to get the car spun round. You can see that I think Seuss might be waiting for him. But in the meantime, it looks like Militant's had a moment here. Militant's had a moment coming out of turn 3. And it looks like lots and lots of guys getting into trouble very, very early on here in this race. Militant down to 7th. Seuss and G also involved in an incident. So action aplenty already here. But we've got a battle going on for 4th, 5th and 6th. That Guitardo, Chris Pissock and Redfly looking very, very close indeed. Chris getting a slightly compromised entry coming through the chicane. And Redfly having a little look to the inside, but he's too far back at the moment. But that is a really, really unfortunate there for G and Seuss there, Ian, and Militant as well. Yeah,
it's one of those kind of things where sometimes it can be what if, what if somebody did in that kind of situation. But also in this case, it's just another race incident. You've just got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, try to race back up there, get yourself back up the leaderboard.
That's it, and there'll be plenty more opportunities for these guys to get back into the race as it goes on. It's a long, long race here, 45 minutes with a mandatory pit stop as well, so anything can happen. There's every reason to keep your head down and carry on. As we can see, that guitar dude is all over the back here of Timanowski as he come out onto the pit straight. Absolutely nothing separating these guys. That guitar dude looks like he's in striking distance here, but is he going to be brave enough to go for him? I think he's a bit... Yeah, he's a little bit too far back, I reckon. You're right. And
yeah.
Oh, Thorsten's having a look here. Thorsten very, very close with Ziegenmilk, looking to the outside, coming towards turn 2. But Ziegenmilk is going to cover off the inside. Good defensive driving here at the moment onto the brakes. For the time being, there's no way around him at the moment. Thorsten is really hassling him though.
I think, Thorsten, he's got a very cool head. He always has. When he sees the opportunity, he knows that he's got the opportunity, he'll take it. But no opportunity without any risk.
Yeah, 100%. You need to. You don't win championships without taking risks, and Thorsten knows that. Having been our GTE and GT3 champion over on Project Cars 2 here at MR, he's also won championships on other leagues in the past as well. We know he's got the credentials, and he's definitely going to be taking this fight to Ziegenmilk for the duration of this one. Hopefully this can be a really interesting battle for the race lead. Obviously last week Thorsten got very unlucky at Spa, had the wrong setup loaded for the race, which meant he was as we see Thorsten getting late on the brakes. Oh my goodness, wow, that came out of nowhere. Ziegenmilk holding it to the inside here, coming into the penultimate corner. Thorsten for the moment can't quite get around him. That was a very opportunistic dive bomb there from Thorsten Borchardt, and it almost came off. Very close there.
Just reminded me of the Clio straight away. That was right out of my own guidebook right there.
Yeah, something tells me you're thinking of Snetterton there.
Yeah. The straight up dive bomb. That had all the hallmarks. See?
Here we go again. Here we go again.
It's paid off.
Oh my goodness. Thorsten Borchardt pulls off an absolute worldie there. Looks like he's got so much more confidence on the brakes than Ziegenmilk coming into the braking zones, and it looks like he's now picked up the lead. Ziegenmilk isn't going to give this one up though, riding over the curb there coming through turn 2. But Thorsten now with the ascendancy, he has that upper hand here in the mental battle as well as the on-track battle. It looks like these two fighting has allowed Timanowski and that Guitardo to pull right up on them. In fact, Chris Pissock and Redfly as well. We got a 6-man battle for the lead here.
Well, in my opinion, it's certain games, Project Cars 2, it's good to be in the lead. when you have that mentality, right, I'm in the lead, just focus on that. But in other games like this, it's not always so good having the lead, especially this early on. Because with these cars, even with the little straights like this, or so the pit straight, there's so much opportunity for people to get the slipstream and get up by you, and then they just can go all wrong from there. That was what Niji went there on public area like yesterday of the GTEs for Tier 2. We were obviously one of the Tier 1 drivers was, and one of the Tier 2 folk, I cannot remember who it was. No, it wasn't GTE, sorry, it was the Clio's swap out. Was it the Clio's? Yeah, it was the Clio's, yeah.
Yesterday, Clio's.
Yeah. One of the Tier 1 lads were in with Tier 2, what pole there was. And we say, I said to him that, yeah, maybe a Tier 1 driver, I'm with a Tier 2, but still anything can happen. I'll go away and get my dinner, come back, and then all I see is the Tier 1 guy on, facing backwards and dead last. And as soon as I came back in the bike, that's what I said. I said anything can happen, and then that's just proven it.
Yeah, you just never know.
Yeah, so anything could still happen, and that's why even when it's somebody at the very back, you come out. Oh, looks like G's in for his pit actually, I just realised that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so G opting to try and minimise the damage done by that first lap collision there with Seuss. I don't know if there was damage. I wouldn't imagine there would be damage. It looked like a very, very minor collision, just a clip. So G into the pits. Let's see how long he's stopped in the box so we can get an idea of exactly how much time these guys can be losing in the pits tonight. So
that's well over 5 or so seconds now.
That's about 20. I made it 20 seconds so far.
Yeah, that is a very long pit stop. These must be refueled as well.
Yeah, I'll make it 30 seconds so far. So G's been in the box for a while, but then again, you do lose a lot more time in the pits on ACC compared to other games. So it's a lot more realistic in that regard.
Milton was well behind on that. That's Milton all just caught up to G.
I wonder if Militant's been in the pits. I imagine Militant must have been in.
Yeah,
G's been in the pit.
Just went by him.
Yeah, G's been in the pit for over a minute now.
Wow, what is going on with him?
Yeah, I'm
Maybe
not
fixing
sure.
that damage? After
Potentially, but I didn't think there would have been any damage for that. It was very minimal contact with Seuss.
Well,
he didn't hit the wall or anything.
Well, that's the fair bit. HTC is very unpredictable with its damage models at times, so it can be, even if it's the smallest of damage, it can still hold you in there for what feels like years.
Yeah, it's true, but I think possibly this could be a retirement for the Only G, you know. Oh, just as I say that, he's come off the jacks. He's off the jacks, and he's out. Looks like he's about to head off. Yeah,
he's trying to start his engine.
Yeah, he's off the jacks. I don't know why he's. There we go.
Hey.
Right, so the Only G rejoins.
A minute and a half there.
Yeah, he's a lap down though, so it's going to be a very, very challenging evening to say the least for the Only G. But it's good to see that he's got it back on out on the track.
For our retrospective, Melton, he's sort of coming up to the second to last corner right now, and he's obviously well behind the pack as it is, and that's G coming through the first sector. So he's got a lot to come down on. Oh, we nearly lose it. But we all know what our man G is like. He's always the man to pull out of nowhere when they least expect it.
That's true, but with the distance that he is behind at the moment, I think he's definitely reaching a dead end at this point. I know he hasn't had this game for too long though, Ian. You know, he's only had ACC for 2 days. He's been practicing, trying to find the right wheel settings. Obviously racing on the G29. Speaking to him earlier on, I gave him some settings for it. I don't know if he's using the settings that I gave him, but certainly it's still a teething process for him, and it takes time to learn any new games. We see that guitar dude getting very wide coming into turn 1, and Redfly picks up the position up into 5th place. He's now onto the back of Chris Pissock. So this three-way battle for 4th place still very much on, as we see Redfly now all over the back of Chris. In the meantime, the battle at the front has gone a little bit more in the favour of Thorsten Borchardt. He's pulled out about a couple of seconds here to Ziegen Milk at this point, and Ziegen is now coming under heavy pressure from Timonovsky as well. As we see Ziegen Milk getting all over the curb there on the inside of turn 6, and Timonovsky will say thank you very much and take that position with relative ease. So our pole sitter there, Ziegen Milk, appearing to be feeling the pressure a little bit at this point.
Yeah,
down to P3.
It definitely makes you a lot bit more frustrated when you do start in the front and then you start to make those lap mistakes. It just starts costing you and costing you and costing you. It really does get frustrating, but it really does affect the way they start driving.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously it's irritating when you know that you've got the pace to be up there, but certain mistakes and inconsistency, and especially if you take the wrong direction with setup, knowing that there's nothing you can do, you've just got to stick with it. It can be the most annoying thing, as we see Ziegen Milk putting into the pit. Yeah. So let's see how long he is in the box. I do want to get some kind of idea of what is a good pit stop, to be honest, because we haven't really done
looks
that.
like he does have a little bit of damage on his back end.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say let's have a look and see how he does here coming in. So we see also Chris Pissock following him in as well. Can see Emo Guy's parked car there, and my parked car as well.
Scotland car.
Oh, and G's in the pits again. G's back in the pits.
Oh yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, it looks like he's out of the race. The only G after just 6 laps at this race. So Ziegen Milk with a very quick pit stop there. He was in the box for about 5 seconds.
Looks like he's left the station, unfortunately.
That's very unfortunate there for G. So Ziegen Milk and Chris both getting lightning fast pit stops. They are serviced and back out on the track once again. So all in all,
I will say one thing. I'm a little bit confused by just Pissock's colour scheme right now. Lime green, a pink, then more of a poo brown. Very different colour schemes right there.
yeah, I know it's a bit of a mismatch, isn't it? It's like it's like he had to go to a beauty contest at 6 and then a banger race at 7 or something. Yeah, it's a little.
I think he's got a birthday party to attend. His clown car.
Yeah, so he doesn't want to get the front of that car damaged, I'll say that. Looks a little bit precious.
Yeah.
As we currently go back to, so we've got Thorsten Borchardt leading this race at the moment by just under 5 seconds to Timonovsky. So Thorsten doing bits at the front, he's pulling out that gap. Timonovsky 4.8 seconds behind. Redfly still running in P3. Timonovsky's pulled that gap to him, but obviously the guys who want to keep an eye on are Ziegen Milk and Chris Pissock, because they've already been in for their stops and they had very quick pit stops at that. So they are inevitably going to be coming back through as this race progresses, and it's going to be interesting to see now where they actually filter out once these guys up ahead do come in to make their stops. Militant looks like he's in the pits. Is that a retirement for Militant? Would be a real shame if it is.
Well, it doesn't seem like he's on his jacks, and it looks like his back brake lights are on. But it could be a possible retirement.
Yeah, I think Militant is out of the race, so he joins G as our second retirement here of the evening. That is a real shame there for Militant. Qualified third in the session, but it looks like, yep, he's left the server, so that's a real shame there for Militant. He would have been on for some good points with a P8 finish tonight, but it wasn't to be.
Of course, we don't enjoy it when people, retire, then leave the session, because at the end of the day, as long as you complete at least 95% of the race, you are going to score some kind of points. So, unless you have some kind of real reason that your control's not working properly, or your steering wheel, or you've got to do something in your life, there's no reason for it.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. I don't really understand why people do pull out of the race, because when you've only got 9 cars on the grid, you're going to pick up a lot of points. So
Oh, yeah, definitely. I didn't expect that from G at all, because he never does that.
no. But I'm sure that G has his reasons. Maybe there was damage on the car. We don't know the ins and outs, or there may be reasons in the background going on as to why that's happened. But in the meantime, currently seeing that guitar dude, he is, I'd say, reeling in Red Fly at the moment for the final podium spot. Red Fly's had a good race so far. That guitar dude has been plugging away as he always does, and currently we've got 8 seconds separating the top 4. Another 7 seconds back to Seuss, who has kept himself going pretty nicely despite the contact coming out of turn 1 with G on the opening lap. So yeah, well done to Seuss for keeping his head in the game and continuing to plug away, put in some good lap times, driving the 488 tonight. Seuss looking pretty strong so far.
Well, there's one more thing that does bug me about this game. It's just the noise with whatever car when it's slowing down. It's the same in every single car. It's not like that in real life.
Yeah.
And it's really annoying.
But the acceleration sounds are all unique in their own way. It's just braking.
Yeah, it's like, why make one thing unique in its own respect, but make everything the basic generic sound? It sounds like somebody a polar bear screeching or something like that I've never seen.
I don't know, it's like they've all been installed with the same braking unit or something. It's really peculiar. As Seuss that time loses a second to that guitar dude, so he was keeping himself in with a chance in this race, but it does look like he's losing a bit of time. I don't know if he picked up damage earlier with that contact with G, but it looks like it might be starting to affect him a little bit. We've got Chris putting up onto the back of Zieg and Milk still. These guys running very close. They have been in for their mandatory pit stops, so just to fill everybody in, the top 5 have still yet to make their mandatory pit stop. These guys in P6 and 7 have already been in, so that's the current state of play in this race.
Well, I have a feeling that if I was in Susan's books right now, then I would wait for the guitar to deliver his pit, then take full advantage of that to make his put as much to himself and him as possible. So I would maybe wait, depending on what the situation's like with the laps, about the time left.
You're right. I think that's his best chance of jumping these guys up ahead of him. As we see, it doesn't look like Timonovsky has had a bit of a moment there coming through that middle sector, because Red Fly has close to within 2 seconds of him. He gained just about a second through that one sector. So but that guitar dude
he's definitely slowed down. Tim has definitely slowed down a lot.
Yeah, he was right behind Thorsten earlier on, but I don't know. I think we're expecting Ziegenmilk and Chris to slot in somewhere around where Timonovsky is, so Timonovsky needs to pick up the pace if he wants to keep his chances of getting on the podium alive. At the moment, as we see him getting a little bit loose. Yeah, it was very close there, getting a bit too hot on the curve on the outside coming through turn 1.
These cars definitely do not like those curves.
No, they are very, very anti those outside of the track, but Timonovsky still staying just about within 5 seconds of Thorsten. I think this split time might tell a different story. Yes, it does. So Thorsten gradually just extending that gap. Red Fly now down to 1.1 to Timonovsky. I reckon he's within a second now, Ian. This is very close.
Yeah, definitely. He just needs to keep away from those cuts as much as possible and accelerating. And just keep an eye on the movements that Forster makes, try and replicate them. Also have to be the different cars, like, styles can vary, but just to try and replicate Forster's movement as much as possible. Also, you can't tell how much he's braking, how much he's accelerating through certain corners, but just try and engage it as much as you can and you will catch up.
Yeah, and at the moment this is going to be a sort of like a sighter for Timonovsky, for Red Fly, would you say? He's just going to be analysing what Timonovsky does on this lap and then picking out the weak spots that he can try and exploit on the next lap. Is that going to be, as we see, looks like that idea has gone up in smoke, because Timonovsky's coming to the pits So that's definitely not going to be the case now. But
that's one thing I do like with the game is the fact that they have indicators. It's a small thing, but I love it.
yeah, it's yeah, I know it's a little bit different, but obviously it's a little bit more realistic as well. So red fly
It's
and
good
some
to put your hazards on and to thank you like people do in real life.
yeah. As we see, red fly is into some clear air here. He's got 6.5 seconds up the road to Thorsten Borchardt. Now is red fly's opportunity to get the jump on Timanowski in the pits. Red fly, one of the contenders for a podium tonight, but he's going to face stiff competition from not just Timanowski, but also this man here, Ziegenmilk, currently running P6, having made his pit stop. Likewise, Chris Pissick, who's only 2 seconds behind Ziegenmilk. These guys pretty much in tandem.
It's just a lap down.
I think they're on the lead lap. It's just a glitch. I believe.
Alright.
I believe.
Oh, because the GTL updates after each sector, so that's sorry.
Yeah, no, that's alright. I think it's a glitch because I think until you've started the lap, the game says you're a lap down, but then as soon as you start the lap, then it sorts itself out.
Yeah, I noticed that quite a lot when I first got the game, and it's really annoying.
Yeah, I noticed it. In the first race that we had at Spa, it was really confusing me on the stream. It was frustrating as hell. But I've kind of worked around it now. But the gap between these two here, Ziegenmilk and Chris, these two appear to be 30 seconds off of Thorsten and about 24 seconds behind Red Fly. So certainly in striking distance at this point, they could find themselves very much within a chance of jumping, I would say, at least Red Fly and that Qatar dude once those guys come in for their stop. I think Thorsten probably just about has enough of a gap at this point, but certainly by no means home and hose. Thorsten has been pulling out gradually, but then again, you know, he's still got to keep consistent.
Well, yeah, well, that's game is a completely different slice of bread when it comes to, terms of Project Cars 2. It's a completely different mode. But you're not going to get the same thing. You've got to take everything into account with this one. Even with the weather, their tyres, even them are completely different. Even night driving as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I haven't actually done any wet weather driving on this game yet, to be fair. I'm a little bit nervous about setting it up as a for one of our league events. I guess I think it's better for people to learn to walk before they can run. So at this point, I don't really want to be throwing in any alternative conditions or any stuff like that, just because it might.
The light rain, it's actually not that bad. It doesn't actually affect the car. You'll be lucky if it changes up the car like 5%. So yeah, compared to what light rains like on Project Cars 2, like it's just a little bit of slippiness compared to what Project Cars 2 is on, when it comes on to like ice. It's so realistic when it comes to the light rain, where it's only a couple of dribbles from there. So it's a lot better light rain and this than what there is in Project Cars 2. The heavy rain, that's a lot better in Project Cars 2 than what it is in this, in my opinion.
Yeah, Project Cars 2, it's the grip levels kind of don't really change. You lose. I'll tell you what you lose straight away is you lose it just becomes harder work in the heavy rain on Project Cars 2. It kind of just feels like you're driving through a lake almost at times. Rather than loss of grip, you just get a lot of understeer. That makes sense. To a point. Obviously, you lose the grip very, very quickly, as you mentioned. With light rain, that grip is pretty compromised at an early stage. But then after a point, the grip levels don't really deteriorate. It's more just very understeery. You can see the gap at the front here, 6.2 seconds between Thorsten and Red Fly. It does appear that Red Fly has started to, well, lost 2 tenths in that sector, but he's starting to reel him in, I think. I think the gap was about 6.6 on the previous laps, now down to 6.4. So Thorsten definitely not out of striking range here from Redfly. It could come down to the pit stops here. But, I mean, as I say, I see here Redfly diving into the pit lane to make his mandatory stop. Here he comes. So now, big question is, where's Redfly going to come out in relation to not just Timanowski, but Ziege and Milk? Seems like Timanowski came out.
He's still a little bit behind. He's still coming up to the third to last corner.
Yeah.
He's not far behind him either. That he's not that far behind him either. So that's him all just stopping now. So depending on what he's got, what the engineers have got to do, that could be very hefty out of his choice right now.
Oh yeah, 100%. So we're seeing here, we've got Timanowski coming out onto the pit straight now. He got the job done on Ziege Milk and Chris Pissock. Can he get the job done on Redfly? It looks like Redfly's had a bit of a mare in the pit stops.
Yeah, but he's moving again.
Yep, loses places to all of them. So Redfly down to P6 here in this race. He's got the other three lads just up the road from him. He's got Seuss, Timanowski, Ziege Milk. Well, sorry, Seuss is still yet to pit, and he's just up the road from these guys. You've got Timanowski, Ziege Milk and Chris Pissock just up ahead. So Redfly can see these guys. He can see all three of them up ahead of him. Whether or not he's going to have the pace to reel them in now is pretty much down to him. We've got just under 20 minutes left in this race.
Well, I'll just try and gauge the time between Forsten and Seuss right now, and it definitely seems like even if Forsten was to pit right now, he'll still very easily. Oh, Seuss is coming up through the mandatory pit.
So say again?
Seuss is coming up through the pit.
Ah, here we go. Yeah, so Seuss lost a lot of time in turn 1 incident with G on the opening lap, so he's going to drop back probably, I would say at least back down to where that guitar dude is, currently running in P7. He won't be in this battle for the podium spots, that's for sure. So Timanowski up into P2, Ziege Milk onto the podium. Chris Pissock can see that podium spot just a couple of seconds up the road from him, but is he going to be able to challenge? That's the question. Redfly sat P6 at the moment, can see the prize. Can he claim it though? That's the question at this point. Thorsten Borchardt pulling out that gap at the front of the field, as he has done since he took the lead. Made a brilliant move up the inside of Ziege Milk to take P1 in the early stages of the race, and has not looked back since. Still yet to make his mandatory pit stop is our German, former GTE and GT3 champion here at Motive Racing on Project Cars 2. And absolutely bossing it so far on Assetto Corsa Competizione here on the PS4 platform.
Especially our Lexus of all cars.
Say again?
Especially our Lexus of all cars.
Oh yeah. Oh Jesus. Oh, sorry, I just accidentally clicked out. Hold on.
Oh, what job?
It's alright. No, it's alright. Oh, just about kept in there. That was close.
There's nothing, none of these streams ever go right when you're involved. It's okay.
Mate, that's I'm a commentator. I'm not a tech guy.
Yeah. Oh god. Doing the GO, and I was said to do that a couple of weeks back to make a video of this youth screwed up. We'll get millions of views.
Oh my god. Anyway, we've currently got Thorsten still leading this race, lap 17 of round 2 for Motive Racing's ACC Wednesday GT3. Driving in the Lexus, it's been an incredible performance from Thorsten so far, as Ian pointed out. Not only the easiest of cars to drive here on ACC, but very rewarding if you can get it right. And yeah, he's really done a fantastic job so far in this race. Timonowski running in P2.
It's very much like the skyline of that sort of not the easiest.
Yeah, the most direct comparison, certainly.
But even that's the skyline is rubbish. It's like it's on ice. Honestly, that was my favourite car. And I can't even drive it. Like, why do it's like this? It's like the game developers know that it's my favourite car and they don't let me drive it because it's so rubbish to drive in a straight line.
Shouldn't be your favourite car. Shouldn't be your favourite car if you can't drive it.
I mean, it's just like the point. Come on! I want it. It's my dream car in real life. I want to drive it, and this is like Come on.
Just because you can't drive it at racing speed doesn't mean you wouldn't be able to drive it on the road. You know, it's a different kettle of fish.
Well, yeah, but still. If I was to get one in real life, I'd end up kicking the horsepower up so much it wouldn't be drivable.
Yeah, you just never. If you ever get the car in real life, just don't upgrade it, please, for the good of yourself and others.
Well, that's like putting a big red button in front of a man and telling him not to push it. It's going to happen.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what happens if you gave Ian the nuclear codes of a skyline.
Oh god.
But in the meantime, currently got Thorsten still leading this race, so he does need to come in for his mandatory pit stop. Yeah, he is coming in now. So here he comes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of been a little bit confusing with him out the front. We haven't really been able to gauge exactly what the gap is to Timonowski, as we see him coming in very late there onto the brakes as he gets it stopped and brought into the pits. Now's the question whether or not the gap is big enough back to Timonowski to indeed keep on to this race lead, which is held for pretty much the majority of this race. Not quite since the start, but certainly not far off.
Sam has actually been catching up. That's forced to just go now. Tim just came up to the pit straight, so it's going to be a lot closer now.
So here he comes, Thorsten into turn 1. Looks like the gap about 4 seconds between P1 and P2. Yeah, so it looks like Thorsten's done enough, but not by much. He's definitely not comfortable out the front. Timonowski's had some pretty good pace here in the last few laps, and he managed to come out ahead of Milk and Chris, getting the jump on those two guys. I think he was ahead of them anyway, but he still managed to hold position in that regard, driving the Merc AMG tonight. Timonowski did a great job. Milk currently running P3 in our final podium spot. He's put some breathing space between himself and Chris Pissock, but this is the battle for P4, guys. Chris and Redfly absolutely bumper to bumper here. Gonna be fascinating to see who takes this one.
Go. I'll give you a right shiny notes if you beat him.
Come on, Redfly.
I'm just having a slight little break, you know.
Redfly and Redfly, surely you would think would be getting tips off of Thorsten being his teammate. I would have thought he would have at least had a nice setup off of our German race leader.
Well, it's one thing having a good race setup and all that, having like a wall setup, but that can only do half as good if you don't know how to use it.
Yeah, it's true.
If you don't know where to apply it to its full potential, it's like, you know, it's like having a car with no tires. It's still going to get you very far, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You're still going to be able to drive it. but it looks like Redfly has dropped back a little bit off of Chris Pissock on that last lap now, just over a second separating these guys in 4th and 5th positions. Chris Pissock, our Polish driver, seems to be responding just a little bit. These guys about 12 seconds off of the race leader, so they feel pretty tightly packed at this point with just over 10 minutes left to go in this race for round 2 of Motive Racing's ACC Wednesday League in the GT3 categories. We see Chris going a little bit wide there coming through turn 2. Redfly a little bit too far back to capitalise on that. You can see up the road Zegan Milk still running in our final podium spot and doing a good consistent job. He's currently falling back off of Timonovsky a little bit. Timonovsky's keeping that gap to Thorsten at the front. 4.3 currently separates P1 and 2. I wouldn't say he's in striking distance, but he's certainly going to have a chance.
Also, that German engineer, of how many angry Germans you've got under there with the Jägermeister, you can do this about anything.
There we go, he's pulled up to within 4 seconds here, Ian.
Ooh.
Gap is coming down. Yeah.
Kevin maybe getting in the head of Thorsten, maybe hacked into his team radio, he's taunting them over the radio maybe?
Yeah, well, Thorsten will know by this point now that Timonovsky is reeling him in, and the question is, does he try and respond, pick up the pace and risk throwing it all away, or does he consolidate, keep his cool and allow that gap to drop and just try and manage it so that it doesn't drop sufficiently for him to lose that win? It's a question of nerves now, and are Thorsten's made of steel or glass? We'll have to wait and see.
I feel like this gap has came down to at least 3 seconds now. He's getting real close. And he's definitely pushing that car to its limits. You can see it, that he is just pushing that car beyond its limits. And it's paying off, but it can only pay off for so long.
Yeah, you're always going to be running the risk. And it's a mistake waiting to happen. Whether or not it happens over the course of a 45-minute race, it's just down to the composure and consistency of a driver, but certainly it's not sustainable or maintainable. Timonovsky though, pushing to his limits.
Yeah, I had my sausage cups and then I went airborne there.
Yeah, I've got the gap at 4 seconds, just counting at the moment still. I think it's still 4 seconds, pretty much on the dot. Maybe Timonovsky a little bit under. There we go, 3.7.
Yeah. You definitely catch them. You've still got 7.5 minutes left now.
Yeah, I would say we've probably got 4 laps left to go after this one. If my calculations are correct.
What's the fastest time so far?
Maybe 5 laps, possibly 5.
I can't say because my TV is old as. What are you going to say the next one?
I think we might have, it's either 4 or 5 laps left.
Well, the pace he's going, that gap's kind of opened up a little bit more. If he just continues to push it, he might be able to bring the gap down to a second, maybe try and get the slipstream and get by him. But
so sorry, just to interrupt you here. Redfly's making a move up the inside of Chris Pissock into turn 1. It looks like he's done it. Brilliant stuff there from Redfly up into 4th. Yeah, Chris. Is he going to be able to reply instantly here? Chris going very late on the brakes. Oh my goodness. That was close to tears, but Chris just about managing to get it stopped in time. Great move up the inside there from Redfly. He's a little bit too far back, I reckon, to get into a podium spot. Zegan Milk is a little bit up the road, but I'm sure that Chris is going to want to fight back. He's not going to lie down in this battle here. Gap at the front still coming down. Thorsten Borchardt currently sat on a knife's edge at the moment. He's got Timonovsky hunting him down, and hunting him down fast. Is Timonovsky going to run out of laps? Or is he going to reel in Thorsten with maybe 1 or 2 laps left to go? We're just hearing reports Zegan Milk has just picked up a drive-through penalty from the race director. I presume for corner cutting. That's a shame. With just five minutes left to go in the race, he probably should have kept his cool. But our pole sitter, unfortunately, pole position was the highlight of his evening, and that is going to give a podium spot to Red Fly. So Red Fly promoted to 3rd position, Chris up into 4th. Whether or not this is going to give Chris added motivation that the position in front of him will give him a podium, we'll have to wait and see.
It looks like the Garton, that Garton may have a chance of taking that place away again as well. It's very close.
Yeah, here comes that guitar. It looks like, yeah, it looks like Ziegenmilk's come out just ahead. So just about keeps on to P5 here in this race.
Ooh.
We know that Guitardi's got the pace. That Guitardi is out of position. He should really be higher up. He had a very, very unfortunate pit stop, so this could be a battle on for P5 and 6. But having said that, with only 2 or 3 laps left, it's going to be a difficult task for that Guitardi to pull up on him.
In other news, the gap between Tim and Forza has came down to less than 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, but it's staying the same at this point, I think. Timanowski gets very wide there, pushing the track limits to their limit, really.
Yeah.
Still yet to dip under 3 seconds at this point. The gap at the front. It's going to be close as to whether or not we have 1 or 2 more laps. Whether we have 2 or 3 more laps.
Deploy the Jägermeister. Get some more fuel into the engine. Come on.
Looks like at the moment he's not going to do it. I don't think he's closing in at enough of a rate. And you see there, Thorsten actually pulled out a 1/10 of a second on that last lap.
Yeah, definitely understands that he's got a lot of pressure coming his way.
Yeah, and it's going to be incredibly close as to whether we have 2 or 3 more laps, because the timer, as they went over the line, was 3 minutes 34 seconds. That was the timer when Thorsten went over the line. Now a lap around this track in qualifying was around 1:45. I would imagine in the race it's probably 1:46, 1:47. So it's going to be extremely close as to whether we have 2 or 3 more laps. It's literally going to be on the money, I reckon. And Timanowski's closed that gap now to 3.1 in Sector 1. So this race is really, really heating up now. Can Timanowski take this win away from Thorsten Borchardt? Thorsten's had this one pretty much at his mercy since the early stages when he passed Ziegenmilk up the inside into turn 1. So it's now whether or not Timanowski has got the tenacity to take this fight to Thorsten in this last 2.5 laps here at the Hungaroring for round 2 of Motive Racing's ACC Wednesday GT3 League. Gap up back up to 3.2. So Thorsten took a 1/10 back in that middle sector. It's pretty strong through there. I think, unless Thorsten makes a mistake of some kind, he should be all home and host for this one.
Well, like I said in the beginning of the race, anything can still happen. I don't want to put any cards on anybody. I don't want to mess anybody's race up. That's why, you know, that's what I was glad to say, that like anything can still happen.
100%. Race is by no means over at this point. That guitar dude's keeping the gap to Ziegenmilk at 3 seconds at this point. I think it's going to be a little bit too much for him to overhaul. Are we going to have 1 more lap? Is this the last lap? Or are we going to have 1 more after this? It's going to be so close. .8 seconds.
Below 3 seconds.
But Timanowski needs Thorsten to make a mistake, I feel, in order to have a chance in this one. Timanowski's got to absolutely drive on the limit from here on in, and the slightest little mistake will be game over. But it looks like Thorsten seems to be getting a little bit sideways there. I reckon the gap is probably about 2.2 2.3. Let's see as they come over the middle sector split time. 2.7.
But with the time that he has gaining, yeah, he's gaining time, but he's definitely not going to gain that time enough in order to catch up to him. Not unless it's a big mistake on Force's part.
Thorsten Borchardt has been holding the race lead for most of this one. Would be a simply devastating loss to him if he were to lose this lead. With just a lap to go here, 2.5 seconds separates P1 and 2. Timonovsky has been charging after him for pretty much the final third of this race, but I think he's going to simply run out of laps. We are on to the 26th and final lap here at the Hungaroring. Redfly running in a brilliant podium spot in this race, 10 seconds behind the lead pair. You've got Chris Pissock as running in 4th. Redfly made that brilliant move up the inside of turn 1 just a few laps ago to take that podium spot. Ziegenmilk got a drive-through penalty for track limits. That's dropped him down to P5. That guitar dude sat 3 seconds down the road from him. We've got Seuss running P7 at the moment. Unfortunate for Seuss, got involved in an incident with G on the opening lap, which really has cost him a chance of being in the thick of it tonight. Gap at the front.
The gap between Tim and Force is better than 2.1.
Yeah, but half a lap to go. I think this is Thorsten's race. Thorsten just coasting around the final few corners now. He knows that he's got this race well and truly wrapped up, and he's about to sign, seal and post it as he comes into the penultimate turn. Thorsten Borchardt, former GTE and GT3 champion here at Motive Racing on Project Cars 2. Had a difficult start to the season last week, got pole position at Spa, had a few mistakes, qualified second today, and it's going to be a victory for Thorsten at Hungary. Brilliant job from our German driver. Timonovsky comes over in P2, was unable to close that gap at the end. He was closing in quite a rate near the end, but unfortunately ran out of laps. Unfortunately on his part. Redfly comes over to complete the podium. Fantastic job from him. Chris Pissock over the line in 4th place. Ziegenmilk is going to come round to finish in 5th. Very unfortunate for Ziegenmilk. Picked up a drive-through penalty in the later stages of that one, which dropped him down the order. But nevertheless, some good points for him. We've got that Guitardo round in P6. And Seuss is going to complete the field in 7th place. Would have been there or thereabouts had it not been for the collision with G coming out of turn 1, I think, Ian.
Yeah, well, this game, yeah, it's for some people, but it's definitely not for all the people out there that think that they can conquer every game in the world. So it's some people just need to, they can take a crack at it. They just need to learn that sometimes the game is just not for them. Yeah, I applaud them for taking their chance, but you know, there's only so much you can do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But two guys who well and truly have grasped this game very, very quickly are Thorsten and Timonovsky. Great performance from those two. Thorsten Borchardt is your winner for round 2 here for our Wednesday GT3 League here on ACC on the PlayStation 4 platform at Motive Racing. Thank you very, very much to all the drivers out on the track, and big thank you to everybody who watched our stream tonight as well. Be sure to join us on Friday night for our V6 Megane Trophy over in Project Cars 2, followed by a very exciting weekend of action, which we've got Saturday, we've got the GT3s and LMP2s, and on Sunday night we've got the ACC Sunday GT3 League, followed by the touring cars over in Project Cars 2. So be sure to check us out over this coming week, guys, and if you like what you see, then be sure to subscribe to the Motive Racing channel, leave a like on this video as it really helps us a lot. We're going to get off now. Big thank you to Ian for joining me in the box.
Of course.
And it's good night from me. We'll see you later.